Popcorn wasn't the type of cat that drew attention. Thin, with striped fur that always seemed messy, he stood out for another reason. He was a constant target for jokes. While the other cats in the neighborhood ran and played, Popcorn kept to the sidelines, avoiding looks and hurtful comments. But nothing prepared him for what happened that day in the park. The center of attention was Bonbon, a muscular cat, always surrounded by admirers. He loved to show off, lifting heavy objects and bragging about his strength. Popcorn, with a shred of courage, decided to approach, maybe even join the group. However, before he could say anything, Bonbon stared at him and shot. "Popcorn, are you lost? Watch out, or you might get carried away by the wind." The laughter echoed through the park, and Popcorn, without saying a word, turned his back. But inside, something was different. He didn't want to be the target of jokes anymore. And while the others laughed, he was already planning how he would change the story. That night, Popcorn couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned in bed, his skinny body pressing against the mattress as his thoughts kept spinning. Bonbon's words still echoed in his mind, and he knew something had changed inside him. It wasn't just the laughter from the others or Bonbon's contemptuous look. What really bothered Popcorn was the feeling of helplessness he felt every time he passed by them. He wanted more. He wanted to prove to himself that he could go beyond what everyone thought was his limit. In the silence of his home, with the moon shining outside, Popcorn got up, walked over to the window, and looked at the empty streets. Outside, everything seemed calm, but inside him, there was a storm. He had never been the strongest or the fastest, but he always knew there was something inside him, something he hadn't discovered yet. What he didn't know was how this strength could appear, or how he could change. He wasn't willing to continue being the joke of the town. The next day, when he woke up, a decision had been made. It wasn't about facing Bonbon or proving something to the others. It was something deeper. Popcorn wanted to discover who he really was, and for that, he needed to change, reinvent himself, and test his limits. The first thing he did was look for something different, something that could teach him to be stronger. He remembered a gym near the park, where several strong cats gathered to train. The cats there were known for their muscular bodies and athletic skills. Maybe I can find something there that will help me, Popcorn thought. With a goal in mind, he prepared himself. When he arrived at the gym, Popcorn froze for a moment. The sight of the muscular cats lifting heavy weights, running on treadmills, and training seemed like something out of this world to him. He had never imagined that place would be so intimidating. But instead of backing down, Popcorn took a step forward. He wasn't there to compete with them, but to learn. The first workout was anything but easy. Popcorn couldn't lift the weights that the other cats were using so effortlessly. Each exercise felt harder than the last. When he tried to lift a barbell with a few kilograms, it barely moved. Sweat ran down his forehead, and his muscles trembled. He looked at the other cats, who were laughing silently, some exchanging uncomfortable glances. But Popcorn didn't let that discourage him. He took a deep breath, looked at himself in the mirror, and once again made a decision. If they can, I can too. I just need to try again. And that's exactly what he did. The next day, he returned to the gym more determined than ever. He didn't know how difficult this path would be, but he knew he had to keep going. The first days were the hardest. Every exercise felt impossible, and with each failure, Popcorn thought maybe he was wrong, that he would never be like the other cats. But something inside him wouldn't let him give up. He knew that real change came from perseverance, and that was what he was willing to do. He woke up earlier, trained later, and little by little, his muscles started to form. His strength, once invisible, began to show. Even on the most discouraging days, when exhaustion seemed to invade his entire body, Popcorn reminded himself of something important. He wasn't doing this for others. He was doing it for himself, to become the strongest version of himself. And that's how, little by little, Popcorn began to transform. Not just physically, but mentally as well. Every small achievement made him more confident, more determined. He knew there was still much to do, but he was more prepared than ever for what lay ahead. It's turning into a really cool story, isn't it? Leave a comment and let me know what you think. Don't worry, stay with me because the story is still going on, and there's lots of exciting stuff coming up. The days at the gym turned into weeks, and with each workout, Pipoca felt stronger, more confident. Although challenges still appeared, he no longer cared as much about them. He knew that each fall was an opportunity to get up and try again. The following weeks were a true test of his patience and endurance. The gym, once a place where he felt small, was now becoming his second home. And it was there that he truly began to see changes, not just in his body, but in the way he saw the world around him. Pipoca began to feel a pride he had never imagined. His muscles were becoming more defined, his body stronger with each passing day. The mirror at the gym, which once reflected a skinny and clumsy cat, now showed a firmer animal with a confident posture and vibrant energy. He could hardly believe his own eyes. The change he had longed for seemed finally within reach. But the true transformation wasn't just in his muscles, it was also in his mindset. He knew that the real test would come when he returned to the square where Bom Bom, the muscular cat, always flaunted his strength. The idea of facing him made him nervous, but at the same time, he felt a confidence he had never had before. He no longer wanted to be the target of jokes. He no longer wanted to be the skinny, weak cat. Pipoca was becoming someone different. He didn't need to prove anything to anyone but himself. But he knew that the moment to face Bom Bom was approaching, and he was ready. One day, as he was passing by the park, Pipoca heard loud laughter. Curious, he approached, and there were Bom Bom and his friends, lifting weights and showing off. They were, as always, full of themselves, with laughter and jokes, but something felt different now. Pipoca was no longer intimidated. On the contrary, he felt empowered by everything he had accomplished. Without hesitation, he walked to the center of the square, and with a more upright posture, challenged Bom Bom with a simple look. Bom Bom, who was enjoying the attention from the other cats, noticed Pipoca standing there and let out a laugh. Well, who would have thought the weakling of the square would show up again? Aren't you ashamed of being so skinny? But Pipoca wasn't shaken. He took a deep breath, looked at Bom Bom, and without hesitation said, "I'm not the skinny cat you used to mock. I'm stronger now, and I can show you if you want." Bom Bom raised an eyebrow and looked at the other cats around, who also began laughing, as if Pipoca was just joking. He didn't believe that the skinny cat would be a threat, but Pipoca wasn't intimidated. With a quick move, he went to where the weights were, and with focused concentration, lifted a dumbbell that once seemed impossible for him. It wasn't the heaviest weight, but it was a start. Everyone in the square was watching in silence, some surprised, others simply waiting to see what he would do next. Pipoca didn't stop there. He did the exercise again, and then again. His muscles were on fire from the effort, but he didn't want to stop. He was showing himself that true strength came from within, that he could overcome any challenge, even if it took time and effort. Seeing that, Bom Bom stopped laughing. His friends, who had been mocking him, were starting to see something different in Pipoca. But what happened next would be even more surprising. Pipoca wasn't competing with Bom Bom anymore. He was proving something much bigger. He was showing everyone that it didn't matter the size, the appearance, or what others thought. He was becoming strong from the inside out, and no one could take that away from him. When the workout was over, Pipoca felt a pleasant exhaustion. He knew he still had much to learn and more to achieve. But right then and there, he had already accomplished something very important, the respect he had long sought. And more importantly, he had conquered himself. The square, which once seemed to be the stage for his insecurities, now became the place where he felt in control of his own story. Hey, are you enjoying this story? That's so cool, let's keep going, but before we do, I noticed you haven't left a like on this video yet. It's really important because that way, YouTube will keep showing you our cute kitten stories. And with that, we'll keep bringing you more exciting stories, so don't forget to leave your like. Okay? Thanks. As the days passed, Pipoca's transformation became even more evident, not just physically, but in his posture and confidence. He was no longer the shy cat who hid behind others or felt small in the presence of giants. The gym had become a space for challenges, yes, but also for accomplishments. The square, once a place of mockery, was now his territory, and he knew that more than his appearance, what mattered was the strength he had cultivated within himself. Pipoca had conquered the true essence of strength, a strength that wasn't just in his muscles, but in his mind and heart. The word of his transformation quickly spread throughout the city. Other cats began to realize that Pipoca, the skinny cat who once seemed insignificant, was now someone to be respected. It wasn't just his physical strength that impressed them, but the determination and courage he had shown throughout his journey. He had challenged expectations, not to compete with others, but to surpass himself. And then, the long-awaited moment arrived, the confrontation with Bom Bom. It was no longer a matter of who was physically stronger, but an opportunity for Pipoca to prove that true power lies in personal growth, constant effort, and resilience in the face of life's challenges. When he approached Bom Bom that morning, all the cats in the square were watching, curious to see what would happen. This time, when Bom Bom made a joke about Pipoca's size, something in the air changed. The other cats, who had once laughed along with Bom Bom, fell silent. They were finally seeing Pipoca's transformation, not just in his body, but in his behavior. It was a profound transformation, one that commanded respect and, more than that, recognition of the strength that came from within. With his new body and renewed confidence, Pipoca smiled gently and said firmly, "It doesn't matter how much you laugh at me, Bom Bom. What matters is that I managed to become stronger. Not for you, but for me. And that is what makes me powerful." Bom Bom was speechless. He was faced with something he couldn't comprehend. It wasn't just about being the strongest, but about being authentic, about seeking the best version of oneself, regardless of others. And Pipoca had done that. In the days that followed, Pipoca became a true inspiration to the other cats. He had not only gained physical strength, but also the respect and admiration of those who had once mocked him. His story spread throughout the city, and he was no longer known as the skinny cat, but as the example of perseverance and true strength. He knew there was still much to learn, and that the path to self-improvement never ends. But Pipoca was at peace. He had discovered that true strength is not just in the muscles, but in the ability to believe in oneself, to fight for something greater than others' expectations, and, above all, to never give up on becoming the best version of oneself. And so, the skinny cat who had once been ridiculed became a legend in the city, remembered not only for his physique, but for the example of courage, determination, and resilience he represented to all who knew him. Pipoca had shown the world his true strength, and nothing could erase that. And you, what did you think of this story? Let us know in the comments which part you liked the most and why. We're excited to hear your thoughts. If you like this story, don't forget to leave a like and tell everyone. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing adventures of our cute little cats. Comment below and tell me what you think. Your opinion is really important to us. Come join our group of cat lovers and help spread smiles and cuteness around.